Here's the truth. You have no enemies. Not really. The circumstances that make people fight, that make people hate, and that make people enemies are artificially created by people who want power and generally money. There are no real factors that create division on the scale we see it today. Yes, there are always going to be people that you disagree with and who disagree with you, and that's good. That's called freedom. When it comes to real division along dogmatic lines like religion or politics, those in power are inciting anger to maintain their power. The concept is very, very old. Divide and conquer. We are conquered because they have managed to divide us. Cynics would argue that there are groups of people who are always going to fundamentally disagree and clash violently. And my response to that argument is very simple. For this experiment, you can choose any two polarized groups that you want. It doesn't really matter, and I'm going to keep it purposefully vague because this response applies perfectly to every conflict in all of the world's history. Here's all you have to do to uncover the unnatural division being created to convince people that they are enemies. You ready? Ask why. Then just keep on asking it. Ask why for every answer that you get or that you give in response to that first why. Why do these groups hate each other? Why do they fight? Why have they fought for so long? Just keep going back and asking why, and you will always find a group of people who want power and usually money. It works for every single conflict that we see today. I guarantee it. Keep asking why, keep following those breadcrumbs, and you will inevitably find that you and your enemy are on the same side. Your wants, your needs, your aspirations, and probably your general goals are all the same. On Christmas Eve, 1914, British and German troops facing each other across the Western Front decided to stop killing each other. They sang carols together. They sent gifts to one another. They proved on that beautiful evening that they are not enemies. It was the empires that ruled them that convinced them they were enemies and wanted them to be killing each other. Kings and emperors and monarchs and despots with aspirations of wealth and land and power. They didn't do the fighting. They didn't do the dying. They never ever do. The soldiers in the trenches didn't want to fight, and they didn't want to kill, and they didn't want to die. And you hear stories about that exact experience from combatants across history. So back in 1914, the leaders and commanders eventually put the kibosh on the whole ceasefire thing, and they ordered everyone to get back to the business of killing each other. They were monumental assholes. Cynics love to argue that violence and conflict are all just part of human nature. Wrong. Sorry, cooperation and mutualism are what made us the dominant species on the planet, not conflict. We were able to develop as rapidly as we did and grow huge brains and create society as fast as we did because we helped one another. Because we shared what we had. We looked out for each other. Because we collected in groups and in tribes and in villages and we worked together. And yes, okay, in the past, when resources were truly scarce and we had not yet bent the planet to our will, then we did actually have to fight to survive. We don't have to do that anymore. Food and shelter and medicine and education and energy are all freely abundant. There is enough for everybody. Conflict today is created unnaturally and against all of our best interests. Here's the other cool thing that you can do, and it always works. Take two enemies, right, and put them in a room together without leaders, without oversight, without any reason for them to fear for their lives or livelihood. Give them food, give them some drink, and give them a shared language, and just let them talk. Let them humanize one another. Because rest assured, if anyone ever convinces you to dehumanize another person, they want control over you. They are lying to you to get something out of you. Anyway, let any pair of enemies talk over good food and they're not going to be enemies anymore because they will see each other. They will recognize each other evenly, equally. And when you do that, you see that none of us are better. None of us are lesser than any other human being on the entire planet. And we recognize that we are on the same team. So in this unnatural system that has been created, who is not on your team? Who is your actual enemy? Anyone who wants power over you. Anyone who says they control you or want to. Anyone who lies to you to incite your anger or your hatred against another person. Those people are your enemies. Here's the best part. We outnumber those people by a lot. By about a metric fuck ton. By basically the whole population of the world. They are so few, the richest and most powerful people, that they basically don't even exist. But it gets even better than that. Those people take away their power, take away the money system, take away unnatural control over other people, and they're not your enemies anymore. Then they're just like you. And that's the absolute truth.